Welcome back to our training center here in Phoenix, Arizona. We're back with our two trainees that we have going on, which we actually have 4 people for the 2 different groups. We're going to do our switchblade technique. It's a really fun, easy, simple technique. We're going to be putting down 3 different colors, and then we're going to do our switchblade method. Then we're going to come back in after we hit it with some isopropyl. We're going to add a little bit of sparkle for just a little bit of extra flair. So we're going to start out. Typically with this technique, I'm not going to be pouring out veins. I'm going to be pouring out more spots. If I want to pour out lines and not spots, I just want to be really kind of crazy with my shapes. I just don't want it to be straight lines, because for this technique, you just want to be as random as possible. See, she's catching on. I'm doing something right. Okay. So that was our black. Now we've got some wine red metallic. This is a very cool color. You want to be careful if you are doing white. If you put red into the white, you're going to turn it pink really fast. So we're not doing any white in this piece. So red's a cool color for us to use. I'm not purposely missing the black with these pours. You know, I want it to be some of it on top of the black, some of it not on top of the black. I want to be random. Thank you, Antonio. I want to be as random as I can possibly be. Okay. So that's our wine red. Now we've taken metallic gold spray paint and we've pigmented our epoxy with that as well. You do want to take some precautions wherever you're at to control the fumes if you do this. But it's another really cool pigment that you can use to create some cool stuff. And it's just another form of pigment that's going to fight with the other forms of pigment and get you some more cool separation between your colors.
Like you can stop right now and sell that as artwork.
Right? Oh, somebody would. Okay. So now, for this technique, I actually like to use a slightly bigger Bondo blade, but we've got these little small 4-inch blades. This will be fine for a sample. If you were on a bigger job, if you want a really tight pattern, these small blades are fine, but a slightly wider blade is actually a little bit better, in my opinion. So for this technique, if you all remember when we had the Bondo blade out for the wood technique the other day, we were real shallow and we were real feathery light. We're going to be shallow like we were before, but this time we're going to be a little bit more aggressive. Like we're going to hold it a little tighter, and we're moving more epoxy than what we did the other day. Okay, and the biggest key to this technique is random. Okay, you have to be random. You want some long swipes, some short swipes, and you want the swipes to start and go different directions. Okay, you don't want to just go in a pattern. Okay, you want to just be really, really super random. Okay, so we're just going to come in. We're going to start moving these. You got to get your corners coated. So once I get it coated, I want to be as random as I possibly can. You don't have to go fast, okay? So I'm going to slow myself down a little bit, just because I don't want the people at home to think that you have to just go through this thing like a rocket.
So it looks like you can kind of muddy these together a little bit, is that right?
If you overwork them, just like with the hand marble, if you overwork that hand marble, you're diluting your colors and you're mudding them together. This is kind of the same way. You really want your colors to stay really cool and defined. Again, as I go, I'm trying to make sure that I get some epoxy over the edge. And if I get thin spots around my edge, I can come back when I get that buildup of the epoxy on my Bondo blade. I can come back over here and drop some off. And then I can shoot back around it. You just want to be super duper random. The more random you can be, the cooler these are going to look when you're all said and done. So as you can see, the premise of this is very, very similar to our hand marble technique. We've got this spot right here. Instead of dragging this blade back out and doing that, I could just come in here with my finger and touch that. And I got another thin spot right there. I just take my finger and kind of touch it, a little dry spot. Now, if, say right here, I'm real thin. I remembered I was real thick up in here. I'm just going to get me some epoxy.
This edge over here. That again, that's the wall, so you're not worried about it.
Right.
Because it's.
If I can't see it, you know, obviously if this is a kitchen island, I'm going to be walking all the way around, but I can't walk over there because of the camera.
Gotcha.
I mean, I do care about that side, but my main focus is not that side. But any of these edges, you can tell if they're dry. You just kind of come up here, make sure that you get some epoxy. Okay, I'm going to lay that blade right there. Cool thing about Bondo blades is you can either wipe them off while they're wet, or you can let it dry and then bend them and your epoxy will just break off of them. So you're going to see a pretty dramatic effect with this color combo when we hit it with the isopropyl, because we have a liquid pigment, a metallic pigment, and a spray paint. We have 3 different types of pigment, and the more different types of pigment that you have, the more dramatic effects you get with your isopropyl. Ready? All right, here we go. So see how dramatic that effect is? Okay, that's all there is to it. So for this, this spot right here, I need to touch because that went all the way to the primer. If you have any of those drops that go all the way to the primer, you're going to want to touch them. Just dab it 2 or 3 times. Okay, you'll be good. So you want to give that isopropyl alcohol just a couple of minutes to evaporate, and then you can hit it with a torch. And if you walk around here, just like what we saw when we added the spray paint in topically with the stick, if you walk around now, you're going to see that spray paint coming between the other colors and kind of shining. There really is no pattern to this one, so you kind of want to be like some figure eights and some craziness with your torch. Just try to kind of get everything covered. And she's done. So that's all there is to it for the switchblade technique. It's a pretty cool effect. Your pigments are going to matter greatly with your color combinations, whether you're using all liquids or all metallics. Whatever you do, this is a tip for you people at home as well. If you're going to try to put multiple colors together with a technique like this, do not stick with just your metallics. If all your colors are metallics, this is going to bleed out. You're going to lose all that crispness between colors because they're going to kind of mud together, and it is going to kind of meld. And look, you won't get near the crisp color shifts and changes.